Okay, look, pals and gals, we need to have an emergency meeting to talk about this game because it's literally everywhere and it is so overhyped. I am so far unimpressed. Let's talk about it. With $30 something for this game, very poorly optimized, not Xbox controller supported like it claims to be. A lot of quality of life stuff in this game is so poorly made. Let's get into the video. First of all, tell me why the game said Xbox controller supported, but they expect you to use the analog stick and the A as a mouse to hover around the game? Who does that? Okay, you know, I don't play a lot of games, so maybe there are a lot of games that do this, but I hadn't run into any issues like this before, and this like really pissed me off because again, first, a game that is this expensive, and not to mention it's a grid-based game, and they don't allow you to snap choose on a grid? What? It is so bad for controller. So stupid. Why do you need to hover around that much? It should snap, right? It should like snap here. You shouldn't have to like hover over with the controller. You just be able to snap right into these things. I'm angry. The D-pad, what is the D-pad? Yeah, it doesn't do, it clicks. See, it doesn't do much. Click something, doesn't click the right thing, you see? It's a grid-based game and it doesn't snap. So far, I'm giving this 2 out of 10. I'm not impressed. Like, this gameplay seems fun, but this is so bad. You can't even like, it's grip, but like when I move around, it's like, you gotta hover like this. And this controller, how do you hover over? And you cannot click to snap it in the grid. I had to do a quick Google after my first gameplay to make sure that I'm not going crazy with my frustrations using the Xbox controller. And yes, it is a known issue and not enough people are talking about it. Seriously, the devs should do better for a game that is this expensive and they advertise that it supports controller with a grid-based game. Mind you, my third reminder, it is bad, not worth it. The game advertised that you can use a D-pad to select stuff, but in reality, it doesn't snap the right way. It just snaps, it's super clunky, it snaps everywhere, it's just not usable. Now at this point, if I had paid for the game myself, I would have returned it, but you know, I was fortunate that I was gifted this game, so I still wanted to give it a try with mouse and keyboard. Mind you, it's a poorly mouse-based game. You don't need to use keyboard at all. So yes, let's talk about the actual gameplay and the poor quality of life in this game. Now look, call me a mean girl all you want, but I'm not impressed with the art style, the color theme, and the theme of the game in general. Like the humor of the game is not that funny. Like, is cats humping each other all the time supposed to be funny? Like, how old are we? You aiming for teenager kids? It's like, it's giving these jokes of horny teenager boys and girls, in my opinion, is not supposed to be that funny, but okay, that's a little harsh. That's just my personal opinion. It's not the main issue from me with this game because, you know, to each of their own. If you like the art style, it's fine. It's just personally not for me and it's not my main criticism of this game. All right, moving on. Now let's talk about the actual gameplay. Now it's a turn-based game, but it's getting a little bit ridiculous of how you spend 99% of the time just moving around or trying to move to the right place of your enemy so you can attack them, but your enemies can sometimes take multiple moves and they can move so fast during the map and they really could just outpower you just for the sake of the game, just how it's made. It's very punishing. It's not even a skill issue, it's randomized and there's nothing you can do about it. I was excited on my second adventure because, you know, like now I went back home and 3 out of 4 cats still survived after my second adventure, which I was excited because I was finally able to level up my cats and give them good gears and accessories and whatnot. So I was confident, I was excited for the next run. And guess what? Your cat can only go on one run and then it just all just retire and you just gotta discard them to your neighbors because that's just how the game is. So each run, there's only one set of cats. The cats you sent on the previous run, you spend so much time investing and level them up just for them to retire right after the run is over. So what is the freaking point of choosing a set of skills, of choosing the set of gears for them just so they die right after? I guess you could say the point is to find the right quote-unquote parents to breed so that they have good skills over and over again. Yeah, so that is what it is for now and I'm not impressed. Another thing is that there's no easy way to check your cat's stat without having to click through each and every one of them to see them. You know what I'm saying? It's like you have to click on a cat every single time to see which ones are which before deploying them. And like even after you finish taking their tasks, you're like, oh, where did they go? Where are they? How do I do this and that? And it's so tedious. The only way that you can memorize their stats is to memorize their name. But then again, it's impossible because, as I said earlier, the cats are going to get retired right after one run. And you're going to have to be dealing with a new set of cats each and every day with a new set of skills each and every day. So yeah, does it sound like fun to you? Because it doesn't sound like fun to me. A game is supposed to make you feel relaxed and enjoy, and this is just making life a lot more frustrating for me. So to sum it up, there are a lot of other tiny things about UI and quality of life that is just sucks so bad for how much this game charges. For example, the enemies could be so tiny that you can barely see, especially with the art style, like the maggots that I really struggled with. And the items on the map or the adventure that you see, there's no way to tell if there's anything special in it for you to like destroy a rock or a box to get the items inside. And also, again, the enemies are so strong, and the enemies can in fact move so many tiles when you can only move certain tiles. This game is very different from a lot of roguelike games that I've played before. A lot of roguelike games is like you build your stats, and what you choose for your stats is gonna partially or majorly determine your victory later on in the game. But this game is so RNG that it's impossible. It's not even a skill issue, as I said earlier. It's all RNG based. There's nothing you can do because each cat that's going to randomly appear at your door is going to be the cat that you use for combat and stuff. And then furthermore, they don't even have a help guide or a tutorial tab like a lot of games do. They have like a ton of NPCs that you unlock, and a lot of these NPCs, they just yap a lot. They ramble, they yap, and then there's a little tool here and there. There's a little tip here and there, which is like sometimes I just skip the discussions because I don't know if it's just a rambling discussion or is it anything helpful in it. And then if you forget about these helpful tips that you have been told, there's no way to go back. There's no way in the menu. There's no option for you to check these tips or tutorials for you to move forward in the game. Also, tell me why I cannot automatically pick up the items within my range and I have to like be on the exact tile of the item to pick that item up. So like after each adventure, you just end up wasting the money or the item that you find in that map because you're not going to be on that exact tile. And then again, you cannot waste your turn to be on that tile because you need to focus on killing the enemies or the boss. So yeah, that is another annoying, frustrating factor of the game that I wanted to mention. I feel like I've rambled a lot, but before we end the video, I'm going to read you guys this Steam review that I saw yesterday, which I love, to sum it up for you. There's a bunch of other annoying stuff. Many enemies have an AI focused on running away, and painful percentage of fights to end with spend 90 seconds of your life moving after a mostly harmless blinking enemy running away into a corner. You cannot go back to check your equipment during drafting, even though drafting around equipment you have is a huge source of potential synergies. Event design in the game is also incredibly lazy and boring, like actual 1 out of 10 tier. It picks a random cat and gives you vague options that randomize the result based on a stat. There's no choice of interesting trade-offs or risks in 90% of the events. If you're playing blind and are looking up every event, it's usually click whatever is based on your biggest stat, and half of the time your ultra high stat still results in either a bad result or just nothing happened. So many roguelikes these days offer events that are consistently genuinely interesting trade-offs. Am I willing to get injured to get a cool item? Will I take this permanent negative or for this permanent positive? Trade money and max HP for each other? Just any sense of choice that might actually feel like there's a trace of player engagement. The bar isn't higher, but it's higher than this. And the quality of life is very visible in the options menu. The most blatantly missing option is such a noisy game is mute in the background. This isn't every options menu of every other game I've played made in the last 5-10 years, except this one. It's mainly obvious that this game didn't go through early access, but this was entirely internally tested by sycophants who think pretty easy but occasionally blindsides you due to unclear communication, is a meaty challenge and lacking basic quality of life convenience expected of genuinely any game in the last 5 to 20 years, like viewing your units in a list showing their stats, as something they've hand-waved as, I'm a fan and it's not that big of a deal, so I don't want to make a fuss. This is a textbook example I'll point out for years in my work as a developer for why you would need playtesters who aren't fans so they can call out the genuinely bad and inconvenient decisions. There's a post on r/roguelites 12 hours ago that asked, what do you guys think of Mewgenics? And the first comment with 200 upvotes say, best roguelike to come out in years, 48 hours in and just at 35% completion. Long ways to go, lol. Even under the negative Steam reviews, people are like, oh, but it's still a great game. It gets a lot deeper later on in game, blah, blah, blah. I'm just like, why is this game felt like a cult followers? It's not a cult game, but it seems like the people that gush about this game, they just blindly, they're literally like sycophants, like super fans of the developers of this game, and they don't even care about the little inconvenience of this game, and they just like gush about it regardless because, oh, it's just a little inconvenience. But like, there's so many inconvenience in this game. As I said earlier, $30 for this game, totally not worth your money. Please do not buy this game. If you still want to try it because of the hype, please, pay attention to the 2 hours mark so that, at least you can return it, because again, $30 is very expensive for a game like this. If this game is like $5 or $10, I'm not going to be as angry. I'm not going to be as frustrated. So yep, that is it for my rambling video. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below, and I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.